features a couple of junior welterweights, Joey Ruiz against Joe Frazier Jr. And one of the stories is in the corners, where they'll have some famous people in their corners. Angelo Dundee and Joe Frazier Sr. working there. Angelo Dundee, the manager of Joey Ruiz. Good combination.
Are they going at it again? It seems like Dundee and Ruiz is a very good combination and a good outing for Ruiz here. He's been a smart fighter. He goes in and out, side to side, and he'll be up against a very good test tonight.
And he'll need all those boxing skills because Joe Frazier Jr. fights much like his father, Joe Frazier Sr. He's very aggressive.
You didn't say finesse when you said Frazier. He comes all the way at you. He will swarm you, throw the punches and bunches, and try to smother you with his attack.
Battle stations. This bout is between two of the hottest young prospects in the junior welterweight division. Scheduled for 10 rounds. The referee for this bout is Frank Cappuccino. Introducing first in the red corner. He's wearing the red trunks with white trim and weighs 140 3/4 pounds from Chicago, Illinois. His professional record, an outstanding one, 22 victories, only 2 defeats and 9 KOs to his credit. Let's have a hand for Joey Ruiz. And his opponent in the blue corner, wearing the burgundy trunks with white trim. He weighs 138 1/2 pounds from the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. His record, an excellent one, 14 victories, only 2 defeats and 2 draws, 12 of his victories by knockout. Let's hear it for Smokin' Joe Frazier Jr.
Frank Cappuccino with the instructions.
Gentlemen, you're giving your instructions in the dressing room. I want a good, clean, hard fight. Both of you touch gloves now. Come on, touch gloves. Good luck to both of you.
We're set to go. That is Joey Ruiz. You saw him lose a tough decision to Harold Brazier here on ESPN. And over on the other side of the coin, Joe Frazier Jr. KO in 3 over Ted Smith. We're set to go. Joe Frazier Jr.'s given name is Hector, but he is called Joe Frazier Jr. And comparisons to his dad in terms of style will be evident to all of you who are boxing fans. Even the nickname he has, Little Smoke.
He certainly would like to emulate Pop. The styles that he has come on, straight ahead, as he's doing right now, he's going to try to just take it away from you, just take the heart out of you, attack right up and close.
As we saw in the last fight, the key for Billy Smith was to counterpunch well. That is definitely the key for Joey Ruiz, because Frazier will be coming at him. Ruiz has a good jab, a good right hand, and a better left hook than some give him credit for, and there he tries it to the body. Look at the knockout ratio. Will tell you that they can both punch pretty well. Frazier with a better percentage, but I think at this point he probably hasn't faced the quality of opposition of Ruiz.
No, it's going to get tougher for him as he goes along. And someone like Ruiz, you would figure, too, he would want to get the movement, try to take Frazier out of his rhythm. Frazier likes to come straight ahead and have you there.
Left hook misses by Joe Frazier. The punch that gave Ruiz such problems against Harold Brazier when we last saw him back on October 17th was a straight right hand. Frazier doesn't really have that much of a right. It's mostly a left hook. Ruiz lost that fight to Brazier on a split decision. Referee gave Ruiz the fight by 4 points. Now, I personally thought that was a pretty large margin for Ruiz to win by. The other 2 judges gave it to Brazier. He claimed, as we talked to him today, that he was rolling from those right hands of Brazier, and they didn't really hurt him.
He slipped, but he didn't counter. Didn't take off the opportunity that was given to him, snapping the head back, and he said that he thought he deceived the judges into giving points away. But it's a 2-part move, Al. When you can have it, slip and then come back.
Joe Frazier Jr., he's got the Frazier grunt, just like Joe Sr. and Marvis. And you'll hear it as he gets near our microphones.
There's a lot of belief about it actually adding power to a punch, throwing more energy into it with the grunt.
And you heard it there with that left hook. It's been a pretty good round for Joe Frazier Jr. Ruiz has landed some good counter shots, but Joe has fought on the inside where he wants to be. See if Ruiz can change that. A couple of good jabs by Joe Frazier Jr. This is as good as we have seen him look in a while. This could be a good one. Stay with us. Round 2 of what is shaping up is a very entertaining junior welterweight fight. Al Bernstein and Dave Bontempo. The fighters, they're both in, well, Ruiz is in red trunks and Frazier in purple, I guess. Ruiz, a 20-year-old from Chicago. Frazier, 23 from Philadelphia. And they are fighting their hearts out here in these first few rounds.
Against Joe Frazier Jr., you cannot fight in a straight line, which is what Ruiz did in the beginning. We were talking about it. He heard it from the corner, too. Stick, move, try to disrupt him. Frazier will really get in there with the left hook if you give him that chance. And the uppercuts also.
Dave, I think the jab of Joe Frazier is improved. Looks better in this fight than I've seen it when we've seen him in the past.
We have seen it a lot more tonight so far.
Overhand right by Frazier. Ruiz with a good left hook, and that, I think, is his surprise weapon. People don't really realize how strong his left hook is.
The jab has accounted for, up till now, Frazier not taking the counter punches that Ruiz wanted to throw.
Good defense by Frazier. He blocked a couple shots. He slipped one, and he's not noted for them. Joey Ruiz in red is finding that Joe Frazier Jr., who I think we'd have to acknowledge probably came in as a little bit of an underdog in this fight, he's finding out he's a tough cookie.
Well, for Frazier right now, there has been much more an economy of motion. He is not wasting as many punches or as much movement as we used to see him do. He's not leaving himself open. The hands are staying home up by the chin.
And again, he just landed a right uppercut. Not a big punch, but enough to keep Ruiz honest on the inside. Oh, that left hook was there. Now, Ruiz has a very good chin. Not the kind of fighter you're going to knock down easily. Harold Brazier, who has a good right hand, couldn't knock him down.
It's nice to see a fighter make the development Frazier has. Yes, the patience to stand there and kind of wait for his opportunity while he's in close. In a sense, it's a very risky thing, but if you can get past it, you're in very good offensive position.
This fight is being fought at close quarters. I would think that that's exactly the way Joe Frazier Jr. wants it.
Exactly, and he's even getting better defense than he might have thought in the close quarters.
A couple of good jabs by Joey Ruiz. He's pretty active in this round. Heard the grunt and the left hook that just missed. It is literally like watching a miniature Joe Frazier fight. I'm talking about Joe Frazier Sr. now, of course, was former heavyweight champion. Ruiz, now he's getting in his own shots. There's that good left hand underneath. So this one being fought at close quarters, and they are taking no prisoners in there. They'll be back for round 3. Reaction, junior welterweights, Joe Frazier Jr. in the purple trunks, and in the red, it's Joey Ruiz. Ruiz, a 20-year-old from my hometown, Chicago. Frazier from Philadelphia. Frazier came in 14-2-2 with 12 KOs. Ruiz, 22-2 with 9 KOs. So far, they have waged a battle. Frazier slipping the jab of Ruiz. Angelo Dundee told Ruiz, quit taking that guy's hook, and he said, you've got to put something on your right hand. You can see Joey Ruiz coming out much more forcefully here in the third. This one is scheduled for 10, and at this pace, you have to wonder if it can go that far.
Get them arms loose. Get them loose. Get them loose.
This fight is reminiscent of Ruiz's fight with Frazier, only in the sense that it is being fought at such a quick pace. Against Frazier, they fought on the outside. Here, they're fighting on the inside.
And Frazier in the inside battle that he likes, though he does like that, the jab has been taken away from him. And there's a little bit more room for Ruiz to operate within there. He's found the range now.
Left hook lands by Frazier. Joey Ruiz has been much busier here in the third round. Halfway through the third.
There was the slipping that we saw in the Brazier fight.
Ruiz slipping that right hand by Joe Frazier. The big surprise, I think, so far, Dave, is that Ruiz has had a harder time hitting Joe than some people anticipated.
Much more so, and I think they also anticipated he would be a little bit more on the outside, trying to move more, and he likes this fight in here.
Joe Frazier digs a couple of left hooks to the body of Ruiz. Jab by Ruiz. Jab and a right by Joe Frazier Jr. The right was a slapping punch, but it's there to keep Ruiz on it. Boy, this is warfare on the inside, I'll tell you. And there's lots of technique in there. This is not just a brawl. Frazier slipping and slipping, but getting hit with the left hook. What an active third round with a half a minute left to go. Combination on the inside by Joe Frazier. That's his office in there. Ruiz has fought in there fairly well in this round, but he's taken some shots also. Round 3 comes to a close, and it has been a good one. Stay with us. This is going to be a great fight. Junior welterweight, Joe Frazier Jr. in the purple trunks came running after Joey Ruiz. What else is new? He put constant pressure on, but Ruiz in the red trunks has been right there with him. Dave, let's see how you've got this one scored.
A fast start for Frazier, and then a very tough round there to score last round as they each got in their shots inside. I would say 2-0-1 and a very good fight.
We are in total agreement on that scoring. And I remember the time when you were doing the fights and they called me at home to check on the scoring, and you were aghast at what I had scored. I remember
certainly
those
was, but I thought that there was still time for you to catch up and get even with us.
Well, what I didn't tell anybody is I wasn't paying that much attention to the fight.
And you were still close.
That's still fairly close. I don't know what that says. We're into round 4, and this has really been a very active fight. Joey Ruiz, the 20-year-old from Chicago, he had a 93-14 amateur record, won a whole passel full of amateur titles in the Chicagoland area, turned pro. At the tender age of 15, went to Mexico to fight. At 14, was sparring with Ruben Olivares, the legendary champion in Mexico. So he has been around the block and then some for his tender age. I don't know if he's seen much more pressure, though, than he's getting tonight from Joe Frazier.
He is showing poise, though, despite being roughed up. He has stayed firm, tried to land the jab, feeding it, as Angelo Dundee said between the rounds.
Halfway through the 4th, Joe Frazier is putting his left hand by his side, inviting the right from Ruiz, then to counter. Does that look familiar? Reminds me very much of his dad against Muhammad Ali in their first fight back in 1971.
Maybe there's a left hook packed in there somewhere as a counter. Also, Angelo said to him to slide to the right and try to get out of the way. He's been a little reluctant, and it makes you wonder if maybe he is fearful of that left hook. If he doesn't slide quite correctly, he'll run into it.
Good left hand on the inside by Frazier. They are landing more often, certainly, but lots of these punches being slipped and blocked on the inside. It's just that there are so many of them, David. Some are bound to get through. The jab of Joe Frazier, again, is there. Ruiz turns southpaw.
You're talking about the technique inside. We're seeing a punch to the body, a double up left hook to the head.
Half a minute left to go in the 4th. You know, Ruiz, who is by trade more of a boxer, but you see he's a well-schooled fighter because he fights well on the inside. He's forced to do it, and so he's responding.
This is good discipline. They're staying there. They're fighting within their abilities, not getting too anxious, yet taking every chance.
Again, the left hook by Frazier. That one he misses.
He's been coming on stronger in the rounds.
Round 4 coming to a conclusion. Another good one. This crowd likes it, and why not? Joey Ruiz, let's follow him in and hear what Angelo Dundee has to say.
Start moving over, son. You guys, you're fighting them all wrong. Now listen to Pop.
Joe, slide over to the right. This guy's hanging his chin out there. And drive that line. Give him a stiff on the right hand.
Slip jab.
Step to the right like you did with the other guy.
Slip jab. Use that more often. You know what I mean?
Dead weight with the right hand, okay? Dead weight with the right hand.
All right, we're halfway home. We're halfway home. Okay?
There's Joe Frazier with his son. Let's hear what he's saying.
Time. Moving away there.
You know, all the time, know that. Otherwise, look at his mistakes. Take your experience.
Seconds out. Put that mouthpiece in there. Let's go. Seconds out.
There you see Joe Frazier Jr. His dad steps out. He's got to like what he sees so far from his son. Joe Frazier Jr. has fought methodically and well as we head into the 5th round. We are getting close to being halfway home, as Angelo Dundee said, but they are not letting Joe Frazier Jr. out of his corner. What are they? The doctor is there. I don't know what the problem could be. It doesn't look like there's a cut there.
They're looking into his eyes for some.
Well, whatever it is, it's okay. There doesn't appear to be a cut on the left eye of Joe Frazier Jr. And we're ready to go for round 5. Ruiz more active early in this round, but so is Joe Frazier Jr. Wow.
I think Ruiz reacting to the fact he thinks he's behind, and this is the time to come on. Frazier got a few more seconds of rest.
What a relentless attack from Joe Frazier Jr., landing left hooks and jabs. He is infinitely better in this fight than we have seen him in recent outings. You saw him against Alejandro, a draw in 6th round. Jose Luis Alejandro, that fight in September, a fight he arguably may have lost. What an improvement tonight.
Yes, he arguably may have lost that fight, but we're seeing tonight he's had the discipline to stay close. All of a sudden, he has been so concise. He's not going way out to the side. He's bringing his punches back after he throws them. He's not lunging. He's been beautifully balanced.
Now, Joey Ruiz, we should point out, is pawing with the jab, throwing punches, and landing his share. And he felt against Frazier, look at 3-4 jabs, a couple landed, that they didn't give him credit for the number of punches he landed. And maybe he'll say that we're guilty of the same thing right now, but I just don't think he's landing that many against Frazier.
I don't think he is doing enough at the end of the rounds. I think Frazier is taking some of them away with a little better stamina. I think Ruiz has to be moving more instead of being a stationary target like that.
Frazier ripping a left hook. We have learned that Frank Cappuccino, the referee, asked the doctor to come in and look at Joe Frazier Jr.'s eye. I guess he thought he saw something there, but it wasn't. Right now, the left hook of Joe Frazier Jr. is there, and he's landing a lot of right hands, and now has Ruiz in that corner.
Ruiz looks a bit exasperated right now. He's backing straight up. He's catching the end of Frazier's punches. Seems tired.
Here in the 5th round, as we approach the halfway point, Joe Frazier Jr. got a good right hand in. That's not his main weapon, but boy, he landed yet another punch.
Very good right hand by Frazier after the first left hook.
Is Joey Ruiz in trouble? He's getting nailed often by Joe Frazier Jr. and not landing counter punches.
Frazier has slowed him up with the body attack, really taken away a lot of Ruiz's legs.
Winding up with the left hook. Frazier lands another. Round 5, a big one for Joe Frazier Jr., and it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say it could be one of the worst in Joey Ruiz's career.
Sweet. Joe Frazier Jr. with a very whip-like left hook.
Excellent. You've been going to the same poetry school as Angelo Dundee. Nothing beats short and sweet. We're into round 6. Al Bernstein with the poet laureate of announcers, Dave Bontempo. And we have a good fight in front of us. Joey Ruiz in the red trunks, Joe Frazier Jr. in the purple, and they are wailing away on the inside. Again, the uppercut. Joe Frazier Jr. turns southpaw. Wow.
And he did it very well, and the balance of his feet when he did that.
He is picking up the beat. Jabbing, hooking, throwing right hands. What isn't he doing on the inside? Dave, I have to ask you now. Ruiz has fought on the inside with Frazier, I think on his own volition in this fight. Is that a big mistake? I guess it has been.
Very much a big mistake. They've tried to tell him to slip to the side. I think he's been fearful of the left hook and moving over to his right side. He paid for it a couple times early in the fight.
Well, the big deficiency for Ruiz has been no straight right hand. They want it from him. Angelo keeps urging him to throw it, and he's not throwing it. There's one. Now, this is interesting as we look at the average length of fight. Joey Ruiz has been 10 rounds several times. He's used to it. Joe Frazier Jr. has been 10 rounds only twice in his career. And you see, he's not used to going this long, but he's fresh.
You would think that he would be tired here, but it really points out that when you go at it hard in the gym from a stamina standpoint, you make up for all of that. One very big improvement by Frazier is the snapping right hook that we hadn't seen before, thrown with the weight firmly planted. It's a short whip type of punch.
All right, though it's been a good outing, there is a lot of swelling now around the left eye, I believe, of Joe Frazier Jr. Hard to see right now, but it's there. But forget about that at the moment because he is just tattooing Ruiz.
And he's being patient. He's not going for the long ball before it's there. He'll take the short punches.
Dave, you are absolutely right, and that is what is so different about Frazier's performance. There, he takes a couple shots, though, from Ruiz. Standing straight up is Frazier. He doesn't want to do that.
How many times in previous fights did we see the chin out there?
Yeah. We're seeing it right now. He's in danger right now because he's laying it out there for Ruiz. Half a minute left to go in what is turning out to be a fascinating round 6. Now Frazier looks a little fatigued from all those punches.
It's a very brisk pace of a fight for him.
Hey, brisk is hardly does it. It's been wild in there. I mean, they have really fought at a very tough pace. Again, the jab of Frazier to the right. Wild left hook by Frazier. And that left eye is starting to look a little bad. It is closing a bit for Frazier. End of round 6. Another good one. Let's follow indeed an innovation of our producer, Jed Drake, and a good one. Shows you the difference in that fighter. Round 7. Joey Ruiz says, I'm in trouble. I've got to make something happen, and he comes after Frazier.
And to take the replay one step further, Ruiz seems to sense what happened at the end of the last round as a turning point for himself.
That's right, and he knew he was able to nail Frazier more often. And Joe Frazier pointed it out. He told him, don't stand so straight up. Dave, I would think Frazier's ahead in this fight, yes.
I have it. It's kind of a deceiving 5-0-1 because he's won close rounds with determination. He's still in the realm of the struggle, but he has to make sure that the punches stay from a short range. And Ruiz would have to try to rely on stopping him, but a very good Frazier tonight.
I think it's his best performance ever as a pro. We saw him early in his career against Mike Mungin back in January of '84 in 3 wild rounds. One of our most exciting fights. He had Mungin down, but he got knocked out in the 3rd round. If the same Joe Frazier that's fighting tonight had fought Mungin on that night, I guarantee he would have won. His technique is infinitely better.
The discipline is there, and it makes you wonder, why all of a sudden, after 18 fights, is there a big improvement in the 19th?
Hard work in the gym, I guess. Uppercut by Frazier. Joey Ruiz is throwing lots of punches, make no mistake about that, but they just don't seem to have the power of Joe Frazier Jr., and they're not landing as often. Frazier with a left downstairs, it might have strayed a little low. It's been a remarkably clean fight considering how they've waged the battle on the inside. Overhand right by Frazier. You can see the eye there, the left eye of Joe Frazier swelling.
Close, Ruiz.
If there's a vision problem, it hasn't been evident. Ruiz has not been able to nail him with the right hand.
He would be in danger from a swelling standpoint. It hasn't affected the vision. What he's done so well with that right hand when he comes in is there's a rhythm. The weight is coming forward as he makes a quick pivot, and he is in perfect position.
You know, at 23, Joe Frazier Jr. only had about 8 amateur fights, and maybe that's the key to the improvement. Maybe it took him the 18 pro fights because he had so little amateur experience, as opposed to Ruiz, who had over 100 amateur fights and won a bunch of titles. But right now, they are meeting at obviously a very comparable point in their careers. Ruiz being busy again, jabbing, straight right hand, but not much effect on Joe Frazier Jr. Round 7 will pass into the night, and like the previous 6, it was a good one. Will Joe Frazier burn out? We'll see. Back for round 8 action. And action is the operative word. Joe Frazier Jr. in the purple trunks. Joey Ruiz in the red. Ruiz, the 20-year-old from Chicago. And Joe Frazier Jr. from where else? Philadelphia, PA. Came in with a 14-2-2 record with 12 KOs. We last saw Joey Ruiz in October in a tough 10-round loss to Harold Frazier. And unless something happens now, I think, Dave, he's on his way to another tough 10-round loss.
Yes, power isn't really his saving grace, it appears, tonight. He needs that.
More power in our next fight, the main event. Freddie Guzman from Fort Worth, Texas, going against Kelvin Kelly, also from Philadelphia, the West. Guzman representing them, trying to win their first title in our ESPN Tournament Championship. Well, right now, we've got a good one. Joe Frazier Jr. on the inside has waged a very effective battle against Joey Ruiz, who has never boxed like he wanted to.
Ruiz is doing now what might have benefited him earlier in the fight. The jab getting out there and starting things off. He's got Frazier backing up.
The first sign of Frazier backing up in this fight. But he's doing so effectively. He's throwing enough jabs to keep Ruiz at bay and occasionally even counterpunching.
His movement has been smarter, not as much of an arc as we saw in previous fights. Kind of like an angle, a quick step to the right, then shoot off to the left.
Make no mistake, though, he is standing straight up. His hands are at his waist. And Ruiz, while he's hitting him, can't seem to nail him with a real good shot. But this has been a good round for Joey Ruiz.
It has been his best. Frazier has slowed down. Ruiz's jab is accurate.
Now, to put this in perspective, we're in the 8th round. If Ruiz would win this round and the next 2, you would have to think that he might have a shot at this fight because some of those earlier rounds were close.
Some of them were. He could have a shot if he can come on strong, but he would have to sweep.
I would think so, yes. And he might need a knockdown because if this fight were a draw, of course, you would go to the 5-point supplemental system. And there might have been a 2-point round earlier in there for Frazier if the judge in question doesn't think you need a knockdown to get a 2-point round.
I really do think he needs a knockout, though. It is a possibility. He was talking today about how he didn't want to leave it in the hands of other people.
That's precisely what seems to be happening. Right hand misses by Frazier. So Joey Ruiz continues to peck away here in round 8. And he may well have taken the 8th round, but is he in a position to still win this fight? Be back with round 9.
Standing straight up, a sign of fatigue, and Ruiz brings back a weapon he hadn't had before, the jab.
But not much of that landing, I think, and the point of that replay is that he was mugging. He had his hands down. He was trying to mug against Ruiz. And I think part of it is fatigue. Now there, he stuck his tongue out against Ruiz, got hit with the right hand. I tend to think he is tired, but is trying to camouflage it.
He is trying to camouflage, and regarding the jab for the last round, it did establish the tempo for him. Even when it didn't land, it drove Frazier back, took him out of his plan.
Why do you think he has ignored that jab throughout this fight that Ruiz we're talking about?
Happens a lot. A guy goes in, gets into a slugfest inside, thinks he can fight well in there, but really can't. And then the body gets slowed down, and it takes away the legs to move to the outside.
All right, let's take a look, Dave, and see what your scoring's all about.
I see a contradiction for Ruiz. He trails 6-1-1. He can win the round boxing, but he needs a knockout to win the fight.
Well, if that scoring is accurate, and I agree with it, then that's true. Most of these judges are seeing it differently. Ruiz, as I mentioned, is from Chicago, has fought a lot of fights all over. He has not fought traditionally only in the Midwest, though he has fought a lot of fights there. He's been in Atlantic City a couple of times for fights. Did lose a decision here in July 17th of 1983 to Mike Golden. He had a win here against Leslie Toney in '83. This is the first time these judges have seen him, though, in a couple of years.
The pace of the fight really catching up and showing now more on Frazier. Ruiz seems like he's been in this domain more. He's been more comfortable. He takes a nice right hand there.
But even though that's true and Frazier isn't punching quite as much, Ruiz really isn't taking advantage of the fatigue right now.
Not as far as power. I think he is getting his jab out first. maybe enough to win on points, but I think he needs much more.
Frazier pawing with the jab a little bit. Yes, the pace is slower here in the 9th round. It started to slow down in the 8th after a torrid first 7 rounds. Frazier with a wild right hand that misses, and you can see the technique starting to ebb away a little bit. But the jab of Frazier is there. Joe Frazier Jr. could be on the verge of what certainly would be his biggest win of his short pro career, if in fact that's what this is. It's certainly his best performance, whether he wins or loses or gets a draw. Have I covered all the options?
Yes.
I guess so. We'll stick around here in between the 9th and 10th rounds and try and listen to both corners. And there should be a lot to say. 10, many people did not believe it would get this far. That's Joey Ruiz you saw coming out after him, Joe Frazier Jr., a couple of young junior welterweights, both of whom have fought well, but right now I think it's Joe Frazier Jr.'s fight if he can stay on his feet.
Ruiz senses that too.
Yeah, but Joe Frazier Jr. has found some reserve, and he is nailing Ruiz with some good shots. And Joe is listening to his dad. He is keeping his head lower.
He usually does listen to his dad very well.
I would listen to Joe Frazier if he was my dad. I'll tell you that much. Heck, I listen to him, but he's not my dad. If he tells me to do something, I do it. Joe is a very nice man, and but he's forceful as a trainer. Slapping right by Joe Frazier. Ruiz trying to push him back, but an early advantage in this round for Frazier. If you joined us late, this one has been an outstanding fight. Early in the fight, Joe Frazier, I thought, marched out to a big lead, as Dave did also. Had an especially big 5th round. Had Ruiz in some trouble. Joey has come back to win perhaps several of the last 2 or 3 rounds. And right now, we think Ruiz, as you look at him from Joe Frazier's standpoint, would need a knockout to win. But I thought he needed a knockout to win against Harold Brazier, and the referee thought he won by 4 points. So we'll see. Frazier putting the pressure on, so if Ruiz needed this last round, I'm not at all sure he's getting it.
No, he violated what was going to be a good fight plan of sticking, staying to the outside. It was just, Frazier made him fight his fight.
Either that or Ruiz fell into fighting it early. It didn't even look like Frazier had to stalk him as much. And you heard Angelo Dundee say he would slip and slide and not lose his pride. Well, I don't know that Joey Ruiz has lost his pride, but he has not been slipping and sliding in this fight.
Only on the scorecards.
Yeah, he's been sliding there, that's for sure.
He got in there and saw Frazier was he thought a fairly easy target early. And that can go to a person's head too. You might want to fight that way, but it wasn't good for him.
Half a minute left to go in the 10th and final round. Good junior welterweight fight. Joey Ruiz in the red, Joe Frazier Jr. in the purple, and if Joe Frazier wins this decision, as we suspect he might, it'll be a minor upset and a big win for him. We'll see. Got to last the next 13 seconds to do it, and then it's in the judge's hands. That'll do it. Well, whether it's Thursday, Wednesday, or Friday, that's a good boxing match no matter when you see it. We'll be back to get the decision. Ruiz, the youngster from my hometown, Chicago, Illinois, and I don't know if they're too happy back there right now, if they're Ruiz fans, but in nearby Philadelphia, they're rooting for Joe Frazier Jr. You see him there. I would think that they had to like his fight. We talked about it throughout the fight, but for him, for that young man, whatever the outcome, he has come a long way as a professional fighter.
A much improved performance technically tonight with the short left hooks, the short right hooks, the balance, and staying close without losing his poise.
They are putting some ice over. You see the left eye is swollen of Joe, and he did take some right hands apparently, or it could have come from some banging of the heads on the inside. And you get a graphic illustration of the swelling there. And for Joey Ruiz, he came in here with a 22-2 record, only had 9 KOs, and that lack of power hurt him in this fight. He's not known as a knockout puncher, though we had seen him knock out Ricky Kaiser in 1 round on a Merrillville show. In any case, it's in the judges' hands. It's now out of their hands. It's in Michael Buffer's hands, and he will have the decision for us.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Resorts International, here is the official scoring. Judge Frank J. Cairo has the bout 5 rounds to 5, a draw. Judge Rocky Castellani scores the bout 6 rounds to 4 for Ruiz.
Whoa!
Judge Frank Brunette scores the bout 5 rounds to 5, also a draw, majority draw for both fighters. This bout is a draw by majority decision.
It's obvious there must be something about Joey Ruiz's fights that makes it difficult for us to handicap at ringside. Seriously, the Frazier fight was a mystery. This one is a mystery. I really thought he lost this fight, but obviously all 3 judges did not. And the fans, well, they're mixed. They're booing a little bit. We'll be back to talk to all the principals involved. Stay with us. We'll try and sort this out. Joey Ruiz with me now. You thought you won the fight, Joe.
Oh, definitely. I was out jabbing him. I mean, hitting him at least 3-4 to 1. I don't know what happened. Well, I thought it was should have been at least 6-4 at the most. That's close, I would consider, because I was throwing a lot of punches, landing a lot. All he kept doing was coming in.
You didn't think he was nailing with those hooks and uppercuts?
A lot on top of the head, but I was hitting him clean. His face ain't clean. Mine's is. I was popping away. In fact, I hurt my left hand, swollen and everything, and I was popping it, working it overtime, and I hurt my right hand too a little bit. But I was out jabbing him like mad, and I don't understand how they came out with a draw. Maybe it's because, he's from Philadelphia.
Well, this is the second time this happened. The Frazier fight, a tough one to handicap, apparently. Angelo, what about his performance?
Well, I thought he was much better than the Brazier fight. If he'd have fought like that with Brazier, we'd have won that one also. I thought he won tonight.
Did you want him on the inside?
Well, no. He was able to handle a guy on the inside. He was able to out-punch him on the inside. He was quicker. I thought he won the fight, but what's the difference? 2 young guys will do it again.
All right, Dave.
Definitely.
Now, we were talking about expecting you to be on the outside. What changed it into an inside fight as far as you were concerned?
In the first round, I caught him to the body, and his right leg lifted up a little bit, and I figured stay on the inside because he was going to try to fire long hooks, and I started staying on the inside because I work the body easier. I was out jabbing him on the inside. Like I said, everybody's looking for the right hand, and they better start looking for the left because I was scoring so much. Like I said, my face is clean compared to his. I'm surprised they came out with a decision like that. But we'll do it again.
Okay, Joey, congratulations on a good effort. It was a tough fight any way you look at it. Let's see if we can get Joe Frazier. Okay, Chicago, that's my hometown. I'll say hi, too. Joe, come on in here. And Joe Frazier Jr. also. The crowd is cheering here. I guess they feel that Joe Frazier Jr. won the fight. I thought you won the fight, too, but the judges didn't see it that way. Let's see if we can take a look at a piece of tape here that will give your reaction, Joe, as you looked at the fight. I assume, Joe Frazier Sr., you thought your son won.
Well, the way how I feel about it, I'm not going to just let this sit down and keep going on like this. It was loud. It was clear who won the fight. We can see that. There's no doubt in my mind. There's no doubt in the fans' mind. And I don't know what it is. I want to be able to hear about it. That's all. I want the big man to see the fight and therefore give his opinion about it. Okay. I'm not going to take that sitting down just like that. Okay. The kid throw more punches. He heard the kid clean shot. And how could the judges say a draw?
Well, I'm surprised, I have to admit. Did you feel like he hit you? He says he hit you with a lot of jabs and things. Did you feel those punches at all?
No, sir. I don't think he hit me with a lot of jabs.
How did the eye get swollen?
I think it come from, well, he did hit me there and with the jab, but a lot of it come from me being up too high and his head down and my head on his shoulder, like against his forehead.
Okay. I thought it was the best fight he's ever fought as a pro. Would you agree?
I would say yes. He threw a lot of shots. The shots were clean. There's no doubt about that. The fans and the public can see it loud and clear. And, I'm just not happy about it, If you get to the basis that okay, let the man look at the fight. That's all I can say.
All right, Joe, congratulations on a good effort to you, Joe Frazier Jr. Larry Hazard is stepping in the ring. Larry, step right over here. And Larry Hazard, the commissioner right now, and I just want to ask you, did you feel that was an appropriate decision?
Yeah, I thought it was appropriate because if you look at it, Frazier thought they won. The other young man thought that he won.